solid plan. Spins a yarn, recants a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot. Hooty-hoo! Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
Now what do you think? What do you think of that? You always love that one. Give me that fish. Give me the fish. Let me on it. Give me the fish. What if it were you hanging up on the floor? And if it were you and back there, you didn't see it all.
Are you going out to tip the light fandango and have a couple of cocktails?
Yeah, I always love that one.
Cam Dantzler, what are you doing? This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Border battle.
I've seen enough out of Cousins, Paul. Put him on ice.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
The horn honk dropping reminds me, that soundbite comes from mid-90s, late 90s. Back in the days of we used to call it the Savvy Afternoon Gabathon. Actually, someone, who was it now? A disc jockey voiced the liner for us and pronounced it Savvy Afternoon Gabathon. And that ran for a while. And then we changed it, Savvy Afternoon Gabathon. That was a Chad and Barrera show. And they were doing a show live from out at, why we were in front of Carol Evans Studios out on Highway 55 and General Mills Boulevard, I have no idea, but that's where we were. And so a car or two would drive by while they were doing the show, and they'd honk their horn. And Chad and I go, hey, some listeners, hey, if you're listening and drive by, go ahead and honk your horn, right? Well, Sammy Sigelman, who used to be the producer of the Chad and Barrera show, I was the sidekick update guy. He was the flat catcher, and he was the producer. He found that horn sound effect, 2 or 3 horn sound effects in the sound effects library, put them on the button bar, and then he just started mashing over and over and over again. So Chad, they're thinking every single person in the Twin Cities is listening to our show right now. Well, brilliant. They finally got onto us when, And I knew what Sammy was doing, and I was playing along with it. But they finally figured it out when there would be no cars going by. The horns are going honk, 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 honk. Because Sammy couldn't see back in studio that there weren't cars going by. And
I always loved
then
that
the jig was up, as they like to say. But that reminded me of that bit. And then I talked to Sammy Sigelman just the other day. I'm doing this thing now, Tenneby. It turns me on to think of growing old. As I'm growing old, I'm going through my contact list and calling people that I haven't talked to in forever. And not just fan related, just all sorts of people. I talked to Doug Westerman the other day.
Really?
He couldn't believe I called him. He thought maybe I got fired, that I got fired. He was wondering, did you get fired? Why are you calling me? And Sammy Sigelman couldn't believe it either. But we talked for a good, from the time I left the parking ramp until the time I got home, about a 40-minute drive. So we were just talking about the good old days. And, Tenneby, he was in a situation similar to yours. Spinning his wheels. Yep. Really a job with low pay and no chance for advancement. And he did something about it. He did what your wife did, became a lawyer.
Yeah.
And now he's got some high-powered legal job where, he told me what he does. He represents companies or something. I don't know what he does. I just know it's a lot of habeas corpus this, corpus Christi that. I don't think he's one of those guys that say, Exhibit A, your witness, if it pleases the court, I rest my case.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, right. He doesn't do any of that I'm aware of. I don't think he's one of those in-court lawyer kind of guys, but he's got a pretty good gig for him. But the horn honking thing was one of my favorites. I found out what they did with Cool 108.
What's that?
It's where the green room was.
Ah.
We've been going through a renovation here. I walked down the hall and glanced down to the right. When did they eliminate the old KDWB and Cool 108 and the Cool 108 production studio? They were just gone. How did I not notice that? I mean, I glanced down there and walked there. They're just completely gone. They've changed everything. Then I couldn't find Cool 108. Had no idea where it was. I walked right by. It's the old green room. We used to have the green room for where the performance studio. So if we had some country and western star or some KDWB, K-bop person, is it called K-bop or K-pop? Whatever
K-pop.
it is. Yeah, K-pop or Cool 108, I don't think had a lot of people come in. Don Henley ain't dropping by a radio station to play for, 50 to 100 people. Just ain't going to do it. And then Cities 97 does it a lot, right? They'll have this new hip wave artists. And they'll come in, they'll do their little shows. But our green room, we don't have one anymore now. I've told you this story about when Melissa Etheridge came by to play, and I went to go say hi to her in the green room, because my wife is a huge fan of Melissa Etheridge. My wife loved Melissa Etheridge. And then Oak is the fan club. Isn't he the president of the Indigo Girls fan club? My wife is a big Indigo Girls fan, so I thought I'd go say hi to. I watched a little bit of Melissa Etheridge's act. It's kind of fun. Those intimate. I don't think she's quite as popular now as she once was. There was a time she was as popular as any artist in the country, right? I don't know if she was. I know she was never on the level of Taylor Swift, but she was big time. So I just thought it was great. My wife, I watched a little bit, watched a couple of songs, and she left one back to me. I said, I think I'll go back and just say, hey, I just want to say it was great. My wife loves you. Security guy goes, what are you doing? I'm just going to say hi to Melissa. No, you're not. Well, what do you mean I'm not? You're not going to go see her. Well, I work here. I'm just going to go, you're not going to say anything to her. But, and then he kind of, he's a bigger guy, right?
Yeah.
Security kind of puts his chest out a little bit, kind of flexes his pecs, and I go, you're right, I'm not going in there. I really don't even have anything to say to her. But hey, thanks a lot, appreciate it. And I just kind of waved at her through the window, because they have a little window in the green room door. That was the end of that. Which I think I talked about that when it first happened. I still sort of thought, I get that if there's a security, but it's, it wasn't like we were at Target Center and it was just some rube. He had to have known I was, especially, hey, just want to just say, but I guess rules are rules, right? That's just the way it has to be. So, but that's where they did the cool.
He had to be the heavy.
Yeah. Somebody had to be the heavy.
Yeah.
And he heavied me. Okay. No wheel of topic. I was just going to do I was going to say we have a lot to get. And we actually do have a lot to get to today. No! Lil B at 1 o'clock. Feminine touch of the program that goes until 1:30. And then is it Tommy Olsen and meat sauce?
Got a couple characters in the day.
Oh, and I asked Lil B, are they're a team?
Yeah,
that should be fun. I bet. Put it this way, you know how. I like the pairing, and I think this is why you did it, because we have a new slogan at iHeart called Guaranteed Human, and then in parentheses it says, except Tommy Olsen and meat sauce, because I don't know if they are human. I really don't think either one is. I think they've got, did you see this story? I saw a story today on my handheld, which doubles as. And they're trying to give it credibility because this guy was a 30-year member of the sheriff's department. They've spotted an alleged Bigfoot in Myrtle Beach. Him and a guy are driving down the road, trying to loosen their load. I don't know how many women they got on their mind, 6, 7, probably, right? And all of a sudden, the guy goes, did you just see that? And the guy goes, no, what? He goes, well, I just saw like a big, woolly. Then the next day, somebody going by that same bridge saw it again. I had like 3 spottings in the same area. I'm thinking, well, yeah, you saw something. It's a story about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue, 2 young lovers with nothing better to do, sit around the house, get high, and pretend they're Bigfoot. Let's put a costume on, and then we'll go by the bridge and we'll see if we can troll people, right? Yeah. That's all that was. I'm sure they did see.
It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, there was a big creature, because it's at the same bridge. Let's go back tomorrow. That was kind of fun. Did you see the guy's brake lights light up when he saw us in the rearview mirror? So you're sitting down there with your buddy going, here comes another car. Okay, run across the road now and kind of look like Bigfoot. But they're trying to add credibility. Like, no, we think there's a Bigfoot sighting now. We have our Bigfoot here. And I'm just like, no.
Isn't it amazing? We've had cell phones now that have cameras in them for a couple 13, 14 years. And we've never gotten pictures of Bigfoot. We've never gotten big pictures of green Martians.
No.
Coming down in their UFOs. Isn't that funny how that works?
But there's one in Myrtle. And you and I were in Myrtle Beach. About 20, 25 years ago, was it? We should go back and see if we can find Bigfoot.
Maybe they could do that for our 20-year anniversary for our show. Send us to Myrtle Beach.
Wait, where's the okay? Deuce, where are you when I need you? Here it is.
Is that one that's missing on your page?
No, I have 2 text messages now. I got. Oh, you know what I found out? I had 2 intermission musics. That's because the you fixed that for me, didn't you? The trombone. We missed one of the horns. Anyway, we'll come back, peek at the purple, and then a wild hockey team, Tennessee. They have a rebound. They win a game. Changing up some lines a little bit. Some good goaltending. Maybe we're back. So we'll talk about those topics and, of course, the Twins. You know we learned to count? You know how Twins fans learn to count? 0-1, 0-2. Twins lose yesterday. Short break. Peek at the purple next year on the Common Man program on the Fan.
KFAN celebrates our $5,000 teacher winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher. It's powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to nominate a public school teacher making a difference. They could be next to win $5,000 to make over their classroom. Do it now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
I think my wife's beginning to think that it's better if I don't do dishes. It's like 2 days in a row I broke a dish. Today was one of my lunch. I got one of these. I think they're like Pyrex. Little dish with a plastic lid on it. And I was trying to dry it so I could put my lunch into it with a paper towel. It slipped out of my hand, hit the center island, just exploded. No! Scared the living you-know-what out of me. Most of it's on the floor, but now there's little shards of glass on the top of the center island. I'm wondering, well, what if some of it got in my food? Then what if I eat that food and that little tiny sliver of glass gets into my esophagus and just cuts it open and I just choke on my own blood? Could that happen? Could a little tiny shard of glass kill you if you ate it?
I don't know if it'd kill you, but it might be stuck in your throat forever like Ryan Donaldson.
I thought that was...
a copy.
Max. No, wait, I do that every time I bring somebody. I do it with Blakemore all the time. So how's that chat? And he plays long. Yeah, I still feel it. You're right. It probably wouldn't kill you, but of course, that's what I'm thinking. So that adds 20 minutes to my day. I have to clean all the glass. Most of it was on the floor. on the hardwood.
It's always hard to see, though.
Well, that's it. You can't.
You're never
see
fully
it.
confident you got all of it.
And I can just see, coming down in the morning to make coffee, and all of a sudden stepping on a shard of glass, and then what do you do for golf? Do you know when I would go on golf trips during the wintertime, like a week leading up to it, I wouldn't even walk up and down the stairs. I'd crawl. Well, because I'm afraid that I might twist my ankle going up and down the stairs, and there goes the golf trip. I wouldn't even eat with a knife and a fork. I would only eat finger foods because I was afraid if I was having steak, I might slice my finger. When you get close to that golf trip, that out-of-town winter golf trip, you have to be extremely careful because you do not want to do anything that will jeopardize that trip. So
I've always contemplated, like my men's league hockey, if I should play that the week leading up, right? I could get hurt playing hockey.
Yeah, I would bow out. I know you're a gamer and your team depends on you and blah, 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 but I just say, sorry, guys, I'm out, man. Because you don't, were there anything worse? You have all this playing, you're going, you always go out to that.
Abandon, Abandon
You're
dudes.
getting ready to go, and all of a sudden, you take a puck off the ankle and it swells up like a balloon and you're out. Right? I mean, think how devastating that would be. I can't even imagine. That's a nightmare. I mean, there are nightmares, and that is a nightmare. A peek at the purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Winter can be tough on your electrical system, yes. If your lights flicker, maybe the breakers are tripping out. Wow, man. Or your panel is outdated, it might be the time for an inspection before the storm season begins, which won't be long from now. Affordable Electric helps Twin Cities homeowners with panel upgrades, surge protection, and electrical repairs. Don't wait for spring storms. Call or text Affordable Electric today, 612-331-VOLT, 612-331-VOLT, or visit affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com, and Affordable Electric is, oh boy, shockingly affordable. And now I can't find my peek at here it is. I got this on my handy an email from the Vikings sent to me. The 2026 Miller Lite Vikings draft party scheduled for Thursday, April 23rd, and is it going to be a ball of fun? How about this? A barrel of fun. Starts at 6 o'clock at the bank. The event will take place during the first round, which is the third best day in sports. Do you know what the first two best days are?
Yes.
And they are?
Well, day 3 of the NFL draft is the best day in sports.
Correct.
And then day 2 would be the second best day.
And then, of course, the first day is number 3. The event will take place during the first round of the 2026 NFL draft. Will feature live KFAN broadcast. Well, I haven't been alerted to that.
I haven't gotten a call or a text or an email either.
No, I wonder what that's all. We're part of the fan. I got my ideas on the draft. You have your opinions.
Oh, we break it down better than anybody.
Yeah, and we do the mock draft. Why are we not? Who's going to be involved in it? Let me guess. Voice of the Vikings. Power Trip Morning Show.
They're hilarious.
They'll play the initials game like between picks. It'll be so much fun. Viking player appearances. Blake Cashman. Long snapper guy, Andrew DePaula.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that? DePaula. Holla at the Impala, it's DePaula. Donovan Jackson, Aaron Jones Sr., Josh Metellus, and Levi Drake Rodriguez. Legends autograph opportunities with C.J. Ham and Adam Thielen. So even though they're retired,
they're already legends.
But they're already legends and they're not forgotten. Fan activations, interactive games, and concessions throughout the evening. You know, the Twins, when they do their Twins Fest, they have those interactive games as well. They had a new one this year. It was called the Polad Penny Pinching Booth. No, really. And what you would do is for $24.95, you could watch Joe Polad pinch a penny right in front of your very eyes. For another $24.95, you could have it put in a commemorative frame. The only catch, you have to provide the penny. Hey-oh, Flop, Sweat, and Tears coming your way on April 18th. That's a Saturday. Meet Sauce Common, Larry Mondello guy. Oh, by the way, Larry Mondello guy, I booked the date. I hope you can be there. Otherwise, we need an MC. 10B, you want to MC the thing?
No money, no funny.
We could put a couple of bucks in your pocket. We could figure that out. Locker room tours. You can tour the Viking locker room. Vikings player photo station, presented by Nicolay. Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders and Skol line performances. Chance to win Viking season tickets. Oh, boy. Minnesota Vikings Foundation garage sale featuring team memorabilia. I wonder what that memorabilia would be. Writing staff, get on it. I know I could donate. You've seen it on my desk, right? I have that chunk of AstroTurf from the Metrodome after they tore it down. It's, and that chunk of AstroTurf is where Randall Cunningham took a knee. NFC. Yeah, you know what? That was the strategy at the time. I still think it was sound. We just got a bad break. We couldn't win the game wide right. So I could add that to the team memorabilia garage sale. That's priceless, man. If you have a good sense of humor. If you're one of those fans that it bothers you that we're a terrible team in a terrible city and then we've lost 4 big games, 6 NFC. We weren't that far out of that Philadelphia one. All we needed was a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and an onside kick, a touchdown, 2-point conversion, an onside kick. But wouldn't that be a great piece of memorabilia? People go, what's that? AstroTurf from the Metrodome. Really? Yeah. Why is it so special? It's where Randall Cunningham took a knee. I used to have one of those Metrodome seat backs. I threw it away.
I think I still have one somewhere in my basement.
Because, well, you know what? Adam West has the entire seat in his studio. Have you ever seen it? He's got an entire seat. How
did he get that?
I don't know how he got that because I looked at the seat back and I thought to myself, and it was number 13 too. I needed either 13 or 14. But I thought to myself, well, without the entire chair, what good is it? What am I going to turn it into? A serving tray, the kind of waitresses hold when they hold it, waiter or waitress, when they hold it like this. You ever tried to do that? Do you ever wait tables?
No, I did not.
Try that sometime. Get that great big huge. I don't know how they do it. They're like, my guess is they come from a family of jugglers or something because you have that great big huge tray, and then you put your hand with your wrist facing the sky, right?
Yeah.
The palm of your hand facing the sky, and you got your hand, your balance. You know what I'm saying, right? And they've got like a 13, 14 course dinner on that thing, and they can walk through the restaurant and just breeze right around.
I'm always amazed now when they're cleaning up and they're putting like a row of plates on their arms. They got like 3 stacked on the bicep, 3 stacked on the wrist area.
Yeah, that's very much who's really good at that? That's the Red Panda. She can do that. She'd be great. I bet her side job is a waitress. I guarantee it is. Speaking of bussing tables, Tennessee, we got an interesting one for Lil B. You gave me the story. Bussing tables.
Yes.
At a restaurant. So those and other stories as well. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. Little Distat coming up next. Common Man program on the Fan.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line.
Here's my favorite part.
Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
This is my favorite piece of bumper music we play.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is that a xylophone, a wind chime, or just some type of... The kid that plays for Patino, who said he's got their biggest church bells. Maybe those are church bells. Headline, Fish Wrap Factory. No, sorry. At The Athletic, Joe Smith, who, along with Mike Russo, covers the Wild like a blanket. Wild earned gutsy, buzzer-beating win in Foligno. What are we going to call their line? The
Foligno.
Win in the Foligno brothers' first game together. Was it gutsy? It was buzzer-beating, right? 5 seconds to go,
I
right?
think 3.8 seconds.
3.8.
Yeah.
Well,
after they'd just blown the 2-goal lead and Florida had scored with their goalie pulled.
And I think it was some kind of a record. What did I read? Per NHL stats, Eriksson X goal at 1955 was the latest go-ahead goal in Wild history, eclipsing the previous mark set by Foligno. And it must have been the Foligno that's always been here, not the Foligno that just got here. That was on October 15, 2021. That was at 1952. So it only beat it by 3 seconds, but but still, it's you can't get much closer to the end of the game. And then they didn't have to go to OT, so we got 2 full points, right? And I got a message for the Dallas Stars if they happen to be listening down there.
Object in your mirror,
may be closer than they appear.
I know they got a game in hand, Tim. I mean, I know it's only 5. It's 5 points. Is it 5 points? Or is it 3?
It's 3 now because the Wild won last night.
Right.
Dallas has lost 3 in a row.
So, do we still feel? Because I know I've been trying to get people pumped up about we can catch. I thought we actually could catch the Lanch, but I guess I got a little greedy.
Yeah, not catching there.
I got crazy. They say that he got crazy once and he tried to touch the sun. I was trying to touch the sun, and I lost a friend, but I gained a memory.
We'll take care of Colorado in the second round. How about that?
That's exactly right. Wally was pretty good last night, too. He
was very good.
Only 18 saves, but he had some key ones, right? Is that correct? Was it 18 saves?
I didn't even look up the shots on goal. But
I thought I read 18.
Yeah, it sounds about right because the Wild outshot Florida by a pretty good margin. The Wild are in the 40s. And, yeah, Florida was in the late upper teens, around 20 area. But, yeah, especially early on, because both ways, the Florida goalie was standing on his head for most of that game. Right. I mean, the Wild were a pretty dominant team, especially in the first period, had lots of looks, lots of chances, and the Panthers goalie was the only reason they were in that game. But, the Wild were a little leaky defensively at times in the first period, and Wallstead came up big for them. He was terrific. The 2 goals he gave up are, the one was a Tkachuk deflection that he had no chance on.
I heard it was it was described as it was just picture-perfect deflection.
I mean, it would be nice if Quinn Hughes would, instead of just standing 3 feet from him and watching the play, would actually go out and try to...
The first criticism... Wait a minute. Hold on. That's the first criticism I've heard of Quinnesota in this state since we acquired him.
Oh, he's spectacular, and I'll take him on my team any day of the week, but that is like... And maybe this is another case of the playoffs are a month from now and I'm not putting myself in harm's way.
Right.
And so, I could either stand on the side of the net and I'm not going to get hit by the puck, or I could go try to move Tkachuk out of the way, potentially take a puck off the ankle, maybe puck off the chin.
Right.
Or, trying to wrestle Tkachuk out of the way, who's twice my size, is challenging. But he just stood there and just, it was the easy, I don't want to say any deflection like that's easy for Tkachuk, but to not even be touched and do it, it was a nice deflection, don't get me wrong. But, Wallstead had no chance on that, and even the goal that Florida scored in the last minute and change there with the goalie pulled, I mean, that was just a seeing eye shot into the perfect spot in the corner on a one-timer. So, Wallstead was very, very good last night, and I know everyone assumes that the net is going to be Gustafson's, and it probably will be for game 1. I do think they're going to be more I don't think they're going to go into the playoffs going, well, we just have to ride one guy.
Well, that's interesting.
I do think if Gustafson is, even if he's just okay, I think they'd be willing to go, well, Wallstead.
Yeah.
I kind of have more confidence in Wallstead, as weird as that sounds. He's younger, I get it. He's been a little more inconsistent at times, but I think Wallstead's more likely to win a game for you than Gustafson.
Well, it's interesting you should bring that up because we're going to take a deeper dive into the goaltender rotation going into the playoffs. Do you know when the Wild next game is, just off the top of your head? I mean, because
I do not.
Okay.
I would assume tomorrow.
Well, because what I want to say...
Actually, yeah, they got Boston tomorrow, if I recall. They're in Boston.
So how about this? To send a message to the entire team that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are on the pecking order, you got to keep playing and take guys. Do you make Quinnesota a healthy scratch against Boston? Put them up in the press box.
Above average.
Well, I mean, then you are sending a message to the rest of the team. We're all equal here. We're all for one and one for all. It's 40 for 60 and 70.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
When the trade for Quinnesota was made, we knew at the time he's not a perfect defensive defenseman.
Okay.
Right? He can get a little leaky in that area. But offensively, he's so good that it more than compensates for whatever defensive issues he might have. I'd still have him on my team.
Okay. Here's what Smith writes. Yes, the two-time defending Cup champion Panthers were depleted with injuries and are going to miss the playoffs, but this was the kind of Everett Hines has been looking for. Here's the quote from Hines. I thought it was good tonight, more indicative of the game that's going to give us a chance to be a hard team to play against and win. Our puck management was good. Our forecheck and offensive zone game was where it needed to be. We had a shot mentality, and we did a good job getting to the net front. And we do that at plays to our strengths. We're on our toes. We can attack in fives. We can use some of the size and physicality we have to lean on teams. I thought from an overall game perspective, I thought that was one we can continue to build on and replicate. And that's more what we need to make sure we have coming down the stretch. Do you agree with that assessment, what the coach just said?
They played, for the most part, they played pretty well. Now, that Kaprizov line, I don't think Kaprizov had a shot on goal until halfway through the third period. And from that point on, that line was good, but they didn't do a whole lot through most of the game. Now, your bottom six, Yurov was out last night. So Nick Foligno centered Marcus and Trenyan. That line was really good, and they scored the first goal. Trenyan over to Marcus. And they had another chance. Nick had one in the third period on the back door that he almost scored on. I think you have to be pleased with your depth forwards. And I do think last night was a little bit of a test of, I think they're trying to manipulate lines to figure out what's the best lineup to go come playoffs. And I think that's what the experiment was last night. Let's see what this fourth line looks like with the two Folignos and Trenyan together. Let's get Yurov out. We'll move McCarron up to that third line with Brink and Johansson, give them a little bit of sandpaper, guy with size. And, I do think there's guys like Yurov and maybe even Brink that could be on the outside looking in for the first game of the playoffs.
Spurgeon, stitches, right? Is that what I heard?
I think so, yes.
Crashed into the net.
He crashed into the net on, Kachuk had a little bit of a...
Chucky, we call him.
Was it Kachuk? I don't remember.
I call him Chucky.
But there was kind of like a semi-breakaway, and Spurgeon ended up falling in basically face first into the post.
Text message just came.
He'll be okay.
This text message says, my sources tell me Quinnesota has a golf trip coming up, which is why he didn't get physical with Chucky in front of the net. See, he's taking our advice. You can't take a chance on taking a puck off the ankle. All of a sudden, when it comes to the golf trip, it's donezo. NHL power rankings. Wild sitting at number 6. This is athletics. The Lanch at number 1. Usually we'd call out Colorado's power play as the primary focal point because what it says is a focus for every team as the playoffs approach. And they say that usually we'd call out Colorado's power play as a primary focal point, but to the likely dismay of many, that looks to have woken up since the trade deadline. The Avalanche have had a top 10 power play. So if you would have considered that a weakness for them, they seem to have fixed that. The Dallas Stars are number 2. It's as good as the Stars are. They also had 2 glaring needs once the deadline season arrived. Middle 6 scoring and an always right side defenseman. To that end, they did well to acquire Mike Bunting and Tyler Myers, but both have gotten off to brutal starts. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on, right? Meanwhile, your Minnesota Wild are ranked number 6 in the power rankings. It says, this is what I talked about with the goaltender stuff. It says, we're going to assume that Gus Bus will start game 1 for the Wild, wherever it may be, probably in Dallas. He was solid in a 2-1 win over the Stars earlier this week, making 28 saves. It's worth noting, though, that Wally has regained some of his early season form, putting up a .918 save percentage and saving nearly 4 goals above expected since the trade deadline. That at least makes the debate a bit more interesting. And can I say it? Good problem to have, right? But it is a good problem to have, right? If you have 2 goaltenders that are both playing well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have like one elite goalie.
Well, sure. Yeah, right.
Gustafsson had the mistake the other night that cost them at least 1 point, if not 2 points, in the Tampa Bay game where he just bungled the puck off the end wall. Now, you could also say if you have 2 goalies, then you don't have one, right? It's a quarterback situation. We're talking about how you have 2 quarterbacks fighting for a job. Well, it's probably because you don't have one. Now, I think you could I still think one guy could potentially come out of this group. They're both solid. But maybe this turns into 2003 with our little Manny Fernandez, Dwayne Rollison situation where I think Fernandez, I don't remember who started. Did Rollison start in that first series against Colorado? I think he played
the goalie, you mean?
I think he played the first 4. We were down 3-1. Fernandez comes in. They win 3 in a row. Then Fernandez started the Vancouver series down 3-1. Then Rollison takes over, won 3 in a row. You might have kind of a Fernandez role where they're both quality goalies. But if one's not on their game, you can easily make the switch to the other.
I thought you were going to bring up just a few years ago, didn't we have wasn't it during the COVID year or right around there, where we had a controversy between who was our Flower? Remember, it was Flower and who was our other goalie? And when there was, in the first round of the playoffs, wasn't there who should we play?
Oh.
Didn't Flower, do you remember what I'm talking about? I know there was
I'm trying to think of who was our goalie at that time. Was that Talbot? Cam Talbot?
I think it was Cam Talbot. That's exactly who it was. And so there was this, who should we play? And then...
I still don't have a problem going with Fleury there. I know they lost, so it's easy to just... Talbot's always just been he's just a fine goalie. Whereas to win in the playoffs, especially with the way the Wild were structured at the time, just quality goaltending was not going to do it for you. You needed great goaltending. And at least Marc-Andre Fleury had the resume that he might be able to pull that out of him.
I don't remember my take, but my guess is I was after the fact and ripped the decision if it was bad for the club. Right? That's my take,
most people listening did rip the decision.
Yeah. But like I say, I think I waited till after was, because you know me, I didn't like to go out on a limb. So anyway, so...
It's the same thing we've been talking about this year. The Wild are going to have to make a decision on which players should be in the lineup and who shouldn't.
Sure.
If the Wild lose, everyone's going to be ripping on the coaching staff for making the wrong decision. When, frankly, that decision might not have had to do anything with why they won or lost.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. People want a fall guy.
Another, speaking of fall guys, tend to be, we were talking about the Vikings are having that garage sale. So somebody said that they heard of some things that says Vikings are also going to be selling a 2-pack of action figures. One is Chris Carter and the other's a regular guy. But the regular guy action figure never stays standing. He always falls down because you got to have a fall guy. How good of an action figure is that? Then someone else said, I heard the Vikings will be selling plush fat cats that get slaughtered. The ones that Zim left in the locker room after they got off to the 5-0 start and finished 8-8. See, I knew there was material out there.
Can we get a reporter in town to go talk to Zimmer, by the way? I want to hear what's on his mind.
I bet they've tried, and he just says, I have no interest.
Well, it's far enough past now. Come on, Zim.
One other athletic story in regards to hockey. Sean McIndoe did a piece ranking the 10 best NHL first-round playoff matchups that are still realistically in play. And it goes in, would it be ascending order or descending order? It goes from 10, 9, 8, like a countdown, right? And the best first-round matchup that is still in play, Tennessee, you guessed it, the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. It says the odds 98% that this is going to happen. And it feels
I'm surprised the odds are that low.
And it says that it feels like it's been that way since December.
Yeah.
The history, the Stars have beaten the Wild twice in 2016 and 2023, both times in 6 games. But more importantly, Norm Green sucks. Why it could be great, because this is the obvious pick. It's because while this is the obvious pick, it's still the right one. These are arguably 2 of the 3 best teams in the league. And look, we all realize they shouldn't be facing each other in round 1. The playoff format is not ideal. And this is one of those years where it's really going to yield some really unfortunate results. That stinks. But also, it kind of rules, at least if you're a neutral fan who just wants to watch an epic matchup in round 1. Is it fair that one of these teams will be out right away? Not remotely. But it's also true that winning a cup means eventually going through the best of the best. That's not an argument in favor of the current format, but it is a reason to give yourself permission to enjoy it anyway. Sit back, forget about fairness, and just enjoy 2 monsters going toe-to-toe. It would be just about the most star-studded opening round matchup we've ever seen. There'd be no shortage of pressure. Remember, the Wild haven't won a playoff round since 2015, while the Stars fired their coach last year for losing in the conference final. The stakes couldn't be higher, and it would be disappointing if we didn't get to see 7 games of multiple OTs. You're normally obligated to pretend to be outraged about the whole thing, but you're still going to love every second of it. And he's right, but it's still, and we've talked about this in depth, and your explanation to me, it's the right explanation, but I don't agree with it that, well, we want to build up playoff rivalries, and they want these rivalries established. And it's like, I still like, since Og Og and Grog, when the first two cavemen to fight, they have to go through a bracket to square off. It was Og versus Fred Flintstone, Grog versus Barney Rubble. It was a 1-8-2-7 all the way down.
I always love that.
Don't all sports.
What about David versus Goliath?
And then David, that was a 116. But isn't that the way it should be? I mean, I don't like this idea. It's almost like you're forcing rivalries. And I understand rivalries are fun. We used to love to have the one at the Blackhawks. Remember how outraged people got when the WCHA got blown up? Because it wasn't that we played North Dakota all the time and this team and that team and that, and those rivalries no longer exist, right?
Well, I would say your rivalries are going to happen organically in the playoffs. That's where the rivalries happen anyway.
Yeah.
So Bettman was pressed on this by reporters a couple weeks ago.
I think I saw that.
And, very defensive about it.
Correct.
Basically, it's their way or the highway. And one of his rationale for it was, well, it's great to have great matchups in the first round. Where can you see this anywhere else in the playoffs? And my comeback was, 2/3 of the country ain't watching them anyways because you play them at 9 o'clock Central Time and 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So how great of a matchup is it? That's what time the games are going to be. People in the East Coast are not going to watch Stars Wild when it starts at 9:50 p.m. their time. So it's not going to happen anyway. So what are you really accomplishing out of it?
And while you might see great first round matchups, you might see a bad second round matchup.
You're increasing the chance of having worse matchups later on.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense to me. But the National Hockey League, just the way they set things up, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. With the I don't think I'm alone here. The whole idea of how they decide tie games with a 3-on-3 and then a shootout, and I will go to my grave, and I'll go to my grave. Saying I don't see what's wrong with having a tie at the end of a game. Okay, I know everybody leaves with maybe an unfulfilled. They're unfulfilled. I spent 2.5 hours at the rink and it was a 2-2 tie at the end of. Well, okay, so I don't know why that's such a bad thing.
Well, not only that, the next discussion is going to be, I don't know if the league will do anything to address it. People are complaining about the actual 3-on-3 overtime now because the way they've coached it up has changed. Right when you first started 3-on-3 overtime, however long ago that was. It was up and down. There was chances back and forth. There were 2-on-1 rushes. Now, whatever team wins the opening face-off, they are skating at 30% speed and just looping and swooping, and because they just don't want to lose the puck. And so they'll have the puck for a minute and a half of nothing happening. No shots on goal, no rushes, no chances. They'll carry the puck into the zone, and if they're in a little bit of trouble, they'll just carry it right back out, and then everyone's got to tag back up to be on sides. So the actual 3-on-3 product isn't as great as it once was.
Deuce was watching a Wild game, one of them that went. Haven't they had their last? I thought I read somewhere too, their last 6-7 games up until now have been overtime.
Oh, they play a lot of overtime games.
And I watched one, and and the Wild won it, but it was exactly what you said, where it looked like they were on a power play. The puck stayed down in the other team's end, and they were just passing it back, and it worked. They scored the goal, but you're right.
But it's not exciting hockey.
No, it's not.
Initially it was when they first came up with it.
So,
but the coaches have ruined it, and I get it because it gives them the best chance to win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like when
the analytics and sabermetrics taken over.
It's like they finally had to institute a shot clock in basketball because if you're up 8 points with 2 minutes to go, why would you shoot?
Yeah.
So you just take the air out of the ball, and it just created just awful basketball. It reminded me of the story back in when I was doing high school play-by-play. I did a pregame interview with one of the coaches for Pinedale, Pat Sissons, and they were playing Kemmer, and Kemmer was the top seed, Pinedale was the bottom seed. And I asked him off here before we started the interview, but he goes, it's going to get ugly. I think we're going to get killed. So then when I start the interview, I do, pre-recorded. I hear what Pat said, what do you think? Well, I think we got a chance to keep with these guys. And I started laughing, and I had to go cut to, because I knew what he had to say, but he was just being honest with you. It was kind of an off-the-record thing. But what he did say is, he goes, I know people aren't going to like this, but we're going to take the air out of the ball. And you know what? They lost 20-16. But it was a horrible game to call as play-by-play because it was just there's no shot clock in high school back then. And the ball just went around and around and around. But he realistically was the only way his team had a chance to win. And it almost worked. Had they played just a regular flow game, they would have got killed by 20, 30 points. Maybe, at least. But it went down to it was getting dicey in those last couple of possessions because it was only a 4-point game. But and they finally got rid of that and did the shot clock. So we'll pause, come back. No 534 would have been brought to you by the Willow River Experience. Willow River Company has the Willow River Experience. You do a 534. You go to their portal and you pick and choose what you want for your yard care. Go to willowriverexperience.com and find out what they can do for you. It's no 534 because it's the feminine touch of the program. Lil B, she joins us next here on The Fan.